All right. Tell me joking. We're back. Go over on YouTube. If you're listening this on Spotify or Apple or whatever, go to YouTube just so you can see Melinda's face right out of the gate. Like, what the? There you go.
You're looking lovely in the headphones.
Yeah.
Throwing some love to the town cars. She's like, what?
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay.
Yeah,
Look, the headphones. My hair's the only thing I've really got going for me, and the headphones are just.
Well, we're gonna have a little bit of fun today. We've been prepping where this thing is gonna go today. Number one, thank you for tuning in, listening, and or watching. If you're over on YouTube, as I just mentioned, today we're gonna dip and dodge through a number of different topics. A little bit of news, a little bit of current events. Just kind of bring some things up to speed through the lens of three individuals from the 62040 Planet Granite. Which, oh my God, I'm watching the numbers drop as I speak. So
I mean,
how'd that happen? So today, as I just mentioned, we're going to be all over the board a little bit, and I appreciate you listening. Joining me on my left, your center, if you're watching, is Miss Melinda Cooper. Yeah, we had to determine which direction clockwise was earlier. Go ahead, you can defend yourself if you'd like.
I'm not going
to. And then of TikTok fame these days, Mr. Matt James.
How y'all doing?
What's your handle again?
The right amount of wrong.
Right amount of wrong.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Right. I knew that. I mean, it's just let you go ahead and shout it out yourself. Thanks for joining, you two. You guys.
Happy to be here.
Yeah.
Does it feel like a Monday?
Is it?
Is it a Monday?
It's not. That was a trick question. See what I did there?
I lose.
It's Tuesday. Yesterday was Memorial Day.
I thought we covered I don't have Mondays anymore.
Dude. Well, yeah, it sounds like the calendar's kind of empty these days.
I'm all set.
So I reached out to you guys a little while back. Matt, you were on, I don't know, months ago. We had a nice little discussion about kind of the chaos that has become your new kind of not alter ego. It's actually your ego that's out there on TikTok, and you're making some serious waves. So first things first, what's your head count up to? AKA followers.
As of this morning, it was, I think, 82,000.
82,000. Now, 6 months ago, you were like, I don't want to do this shit. Roughly. And I kept on busting your balls a little bit to like, hey, I think you might have fun.
I've had a blast. Like, TikTok has been so much fun, and so I don't really follow the rules of
slide that a little closer.
You have to post every day and all. I just kind of post when I want to, and I post what I want. Apparently, TikTok doesn't like that on some of the videos. I've had to take their training because they keep knocking down my videos. So I'm somewhat careful on how I say things. I don't like that at all. I don't like the censorship of it where you can't say exactly what you want. So you got to play that game where you're beating around the bush. So instead of saying the election, you go the thing you do when people want to voice their opinion with a piece of paper, that type shit. But,
well, okay, so let's back up a little bit for the listener here, because this is a kind of a conspiracy / modern day reality that is the algorithm and how it's throttled up or down and what you see, to me, X is the worst. Twitter, Twitter.
Yeah.
Formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah.
It does not matter who you follow. It does not matter what keywords you put in. You will be flooded with predominantly MAGA posts. It does not matter. And understandable. It's really simple. I mean, the guy spent $270 million on the last election to get that. Mm-hmm. But what you're talking about is kind of this more kind of direct. They're actually coaching you through the process.
So they're like, you can't say certain things. A lot of times they don't tell you what that is. Like the training was, you can't tell people to avoid ambulances. Well, no shit. It's a weird training, but it's basically... So, for example, I did one on revolutions, on the French Revolution and the American Revolution and kind of where we are now. But apparently the R word got flagged. So saying revolution on TikTok got me, they got that post nerfed.
Which
and I'm
is,
like, oh, okay.
insanity to me.
Yes, I concur.
How do you know that it was that word? Did it specifically put that word in quotes and
No.
say you can't use it?
No, it just said misinformation. And then what I was comparing to was the stages we are if we look at the revolutions throughout history. And I did a different one on the peasant revolution. Like I set up literally going back to like the 1300s, like the revolutions that have happened.
Keep the mic in front of you there, bud.
Like the revolutions that have happened. And literally everything I said was factual. This happened on this date. This happened on this time. And here's the 3 things that they all have in common. And then the whole post got flagged out.
Which brings us to a word that we all should get really comfortable with or uncomfortable with is shadow banning. I mean, we're not outright saying it, but at the stadium up the street for 3 years, the song coming out, that was when the team came out onto the field.
Yeah, it's
Uprising.
yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Guess what?
is
This
that
year it's not.
Imagine, or who was the band? What was that?
Muse.
Muse, that's right.
But the song itself called Uprising. I'm telling you, in this year when flags are banned, inclusive flags are banned, and now this song is, nobody talked about it. It just happened. It was like we're all, getting ready for the game. You're ready to hear the song, and it kind of gets you pumped up. It's gone. It just disappeared. Now it's something I don't even know what the hell it is.
Well, they know.
Yeah.
When I say they, I mean the elites, the billionaires know. They know what's coming.
Yeah.
And that's the point of all the revolutions in the past. When everything gets lopsided to this point, where we are now, it's the inevitable. One of 2 things is going to happen. One, it's going to be a total overall, and we can look at the French Revolution, where they just start bringing out the guillotines. Or the other one, they go, hey, let's fix this
Yeah.
and like make it affordable for everybody, where people can afford rent and housing and maybe some health care. So they can either fix it, or if they're not going to fix it,
So-
the other end is, I mean, if we look at history as our teacher, the guillotines are next.
So specifically in your world, I want to go back to kind of what you're experiencing, because at 82,000 followers and above, you probably are you have enough data that you can see trend.
Mm-hmm.
So if you, hypothetically, let's say you are posting once a day, give me an idea of the bell curve as far as like the subject matter that underperforms that you think should do okay versus the subject matter that overperforms that you're like, I have no idea how that happened.
So I don't look at the analytics.
Oh my God. Maybe that's why you're doing so well.
I don't. I tried to look at it once. I'm like, I don't care. And some of the videos I think are going to do great, and some of them I don't. And so I just quit caring. I'm like, okay, I'm going to post this and see if it takes off. And if it does, great. If not,
Okay,
oh
so
well.
so let's not hypothetically, anecdotally, you have to remember one in particular that maybe you're like, holy shit,
I did one on boomers. I did one on the being betrayed by an entire generation, what they taught us versus what they actually did. So it was like red and yellow, black and white. Do you guys remember that song back in the day? Everybody's equal. If you put
Did
your
you
hand
sing
up-
it? Did you sing it during the video?
I sang it like that because unlike Melinda, I do not have a singing voice.
okay.
I sing like an amputee. I can't carry a note. I can't hold a tune. It's just one of those.
I see what you did there.
But so it was one of those things where doing that, that resounded with so many people who are feeling the same thing I did. And I think what works for me is I say things in plain language, to where there's 100 different ways to say things. Like if you're in a kitchen, you can talk to your chef, basically in a coded language. But I didn't say anything fascinating or new.
Like 86 tomatoes.
There you go. All I do.
Oranges, I meant.
All I do.
86 orange.
All I do is put it in my voice, in my words, and it seems to resound with something.
So next steps then, do you, because again, I remember before you even had one follower, you were like, it's not my thing. Then it kind of was like whatever, once every 2 weeks, and now here you are, 82,000 and above. How do you view it now as far as like, and not job, but what's its role in your daily activity? Because with that many people engaging it, I'm assuming there's a rabbit hole that you've discovered.
Not really. And so once again, it goes to the point of I'm just kind of doing my own thing, and
Yeah.
if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. So I'm like, I want to talk about this, and so I talk about this and put it in my words and my language of what's happening today, And so I think being a bearded white guy helps.
Yeah.
I think that, and I hate to play that card, but hey, I'm bald, so that's what I got going for me as a bearded white guy.
Got it.
But no, talking about things in plain language. And so, perfect example. So, if we jump into a topic, First Amendment, right? People are freaking out over the First Amendment right now over people being charged. I don't know if you know the Chud the Builder guy.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm fully aware of that.
It's ridiculous. And so, freedom of speech is not freedom of consequences. Freedom of speech means the government can't prosecute you.
Well, let's go back to Chud, though, because there are people listening.
Well,
they don't know who that is.
Okay, so there's this. I didn't know who it was either till he got charged. Basically, this guy goes around provoking black people by using the N word with a hard R and trying to get them to fight. And then when they get
By using the term, quote, chimping.
and so then he brandishes a firearm and shows them he's carrying, and that usually tops it all off. Well, all of that is illegal, in my opinion, from my interpretation of the law. See what I did there? I didn't state it as fact. I stated it as my opinion. And so the way I am reading it is that is incitement of violence. And when you're incitement of violence, you lose the self-defense clause because you are the initial aggressor. And so you can't walk around up to people, provoke a fight, and when they try to fight you, then you start punching them in the face.
Well, let me ask you this. Maybe to you, Melinda, because you're familiar with Chud, right?
Yeah, I actually just saw that they were, when he was in court yesterday, they had all people of color were the folks who were like his escorts everywhere, and so it was like
even in Tennessee they find a way to like create social justice. But my question to you is along the lines of First Amendment, the line. There's historically there was a thin red line. We all kind of knew what you could and couldn't say. You know, in the difference between what was said in public versus at the VFW lodge versus at your kitchen table, there seemed to be some modicum of agreement that there was a thin red line in most social circles.
Ish.
Chud in 2026 is kind of a representation of no line. How do you view it?
Chud is yelling fire in the movie theater.
Right.
So that's the example we were given as little kids on this is where the line is drawn. And his behavior is fire in the movie theater.
Well, and so there's
but should he be
right? And
okay? So he does it now. Well, the reason he's in court is not because of what he said.
Correct, 100%. He's not being charged. Yes, he's not being charged with saying political things. He's not being charged with
bullets flew.
Yeah, bullets flew. Well, so he's being charged with carrying a firearm, committing a felony, and I don't know if incitement is one of them. But
inciting violence.
It is inciting
or
violence.
inciting mass hysteria.
We know the F word, the fire, and the B word. I won't say on air here, but yeah, those two words you can't say in a crowded room because it does incite hysteria. And anything, if you do that and there's a trampling, you are guilty of that person getting hurt.
Yeah.
And so when we go to instigations or incitement, if I walk up to you and just start getting in your face and yelling at you, threatening you, and then you fight me and knock me out and kill me, that's on me, not on you. Because I started that. I knowingly knew the outcome would be violence.
Do you know what disappoints me the most about this Chud scenario? It's not even the formal kind of like, as you just laid out, this is what he does, these are the words he used, this is what he does with his firearm, and then bullets flew and all this other stuff. You know what bothers me the most? The support for him.
No.
Within 24 hours, his GoFundMe had exceeded like $750,000.
Yeah.
So these
oh,
go ahead.
Well, no, my follow-up question is, who the fuck are these people?
The people that want to be him. And this goes for Donald Trump. This goes for all these asshats, right? Because you have this weak-ass, punk-ass little dude over here who gets no authority in his life. He gets no power in his life. He feels like he's been victimized, and he sees people pushing against the system that he thinks is victimizing him. And he's like, yeah, I want to be that. I want to be able to say that word. I want to be able to, be in the Epstein files. I want all the women and the power. And if I support guys like that, then I'm going to get that too. Because they don't see a world where they take accountability for oneself, go, hey, my life sucks, I should do something about it. They go, oh, my life sucks because that person and the migrant and the black guy and the trans people, those are my problem.
100%.
Because that's what they've been told is their problem. So therefore, they support guys like Chud and Trump because those are the guys who are going against the system in their eyes. And therefore, if they support them, they can be them. So that's who these fucking people are. They want to be just like them. They want to be able to walk down the street and have people fear them
but
or
the thing,
whatever.
that's the whole the cookie analogy, all of it. The billionaires have advanced your sad situation. However, the billionaires are telling you, well, it's because that guy took your job. That guy took your cookie. I have all the cookies.
Well, the first voice was Rush. I literally, well, you know this. I don't think I've mentioned it to you. I've been writing, right? A lot of words about my family, what has happened, et cetera. And I was literally this morning, it's so funny you said that, working on kind of, I woke up thinking about my dad for some reason, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to drop in. Haven't been on this in a couple of weeks. Started typing, and I started thinking about his own lived experience in the job that he had while we were kids, and that was he was a dispatcher for a really small trucking company, little shithole office down on State Street in Madison, and all by himself, right?
My dad was on Edison in Madison.
Yeah, way down there. He was on 4th and State, and then like 11th and State. Anyway, he would go in that office. There was nobody else in the office. The people that owned the company were golfing. He did the work, and his best friend for 35 years in that office was Rush Limbaugh, KMOX Radio.
Yep.
Because you're waiting for the Cardinal game. So in the meantime, when it was, those years, you put on KMOX and you just left it on. There's a little bit of news. Here's the weather. And oh, by the way, here comes Rush. Then Jack Buck, right? It was seamless. Mm-hmm. And then as time went on, I started to realize as I got older and became much more self-aware as far as how I viewed him and the things that I thought were, I hate to say this, pathetic. I understand where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening to these people today. These that are just it's not my fault, not my fault. It's that person. It's that brown person. It's that immigrant. It's that gay couple is.
Well, let's not forget they didn't come to that conclusion on their own, though.
No, I know.
They didn't go, my life sucks. Oh, gosh, gay people got married. That's what it is. No, they were told that. They were fed that. They were spoon-fed that information. And that sounded like a good idea instead of addressing the actual issue because it requires no work. So that has been my epitome of looking at every situation. It's the fucking easiest. People go for the easiest, least amount of effort, least amount of work, understanding of the world.
Do you see that in your TikTok world?
100%.
Where you, I'm asking about you personally, specifically your account. When you do take the gloves off and become more, I'll just say anti-MAGA, right? You go scorched earth.
Yep.
I'm going after you Neanderthals. Here's what I'm about to say. Is there a correlation between engagement? Do you feel like that's part of your persona at this point is the question.
I don't know how any decent fucking human being at this point, if it's not part of your persona, there's a problem. And that's one of the reasons I started really getting into TikTok was I don't want to be silent during this whole thing. When my kid goes and looks at history, Dad, what did you do? Mm-hmm. Didn't do much, but I was loud.
Oh, the few times I jump on there the other day, I actually made that short video hey, thanks to the algorithm and technology, your kids are going to find out what kind of assholes you were.
Yep.
Right.
And when you're at the dinner table asking to babysit their new kids and they say, go fuck yourself, I'm going to tell you why.
Well, and so I do love the fact that the internet is forever, is because there's going to be, so after World War II, there were so many people who go, I didn't really support the Nazis. It wasn't really me. Now,
Just kidding, you did.
And so we're going to see the same thing.
So let me ask you, Melinda, along these lines, we start, we're obviously alluding to generational impact of, kids are going to find out what their parents believed, et cetera. Go back in time, I talked about how all three of us grew up in the same town. We went to the same school. Mm-hmm. We all know the same people.
Yeah.
And specifically in today's world, we know that what was once a little Dixiecrat steel town union community that was, kind of conservative Democrats, if that's that was such a thing, and realistically, a community that was built around immigrants from West Granite to
Madison. Madison, that's everybody migrated from Madison to Granite City mid-century.
Oh, from Tennessee.
So
what are you talking about?
No, my family, my Polish family, my grandfather and his three sisters.
Yep.
They were my
Polish
great-grandfather came here came to Illinois, worked in a coal mine for 2 years in Christopher, Illinois.
Yeah, so Granite City, Polish, Croatians,
Yes.
Armenians, Mexicans. I mean,
Yeah.
you can go on.
Busy Bee Bakery, the Freemans, they were Greece. They were from Greece.
Yeah, I forgot
So
about the
so my
Croat
question
down
my
there.
question though is like, we've had 10 years of Trump.
Yeah.
When you do talk to family and or friends and or ex classmates or whatever, or you happen to go back for a cross up, meet up, whatever, how do you react to the new landscape? Because I'm it's not that I'm not taking it well, it's because I'm just thoroughly disappointed in the people that I grew up with.
Totally.
To the way that they're all mini chuds.
Yeah.
Is how I view it in a lot of cases. How do you react to it when you go back?
I mean, I'm scorched earth. I absolutely no tolerance, but I also have had practice at this, being lesbian in
What?
Granite
You're a
City.
lesbian?
I know it's crazy.
I know.
But being a very outspoken,
I just thought you worked out a lot.
I know it's crazy. Well, it's not the case. Yeah. You know what?
We can say
I
that.
can respond to that later. But, being a lesbian in Granite City, coming from my family history came from Pentecostal, and Assembly of God was more liberal to them.
That was our preschool.
Yeah,
Namioki and
my dad wanted us to be able to wear pants, so we became Assembly of God. You know what I mean? But also, once I came out to myself, I was never into my family. It was just like, yep, this is so-and-so, and we're on a date, whatever. And it was just I never had that big moment because it was just like, deal with it. And that's where I am now with this too. It's like, no, this is exactly who I am. This is exactly what is wrong right here. And it's not from a place of self-righteous indignation. It's from a place of, I know right and wrong. And I know that this is not, and keep in mind, big Jesus background. And Jesus, the prophet, would not have been okay with any of this. And so that's another thing that I like to, if anything gets thrown out in conversation, which it doesn't anymore, because I'm like, that's like, oh, is that Christ-like, or is that just American Christian?
Well, let me ask you.
And I find that funny, just real quick. I
Yeah,
find that
dude.
really funny is because those people don't have conversations with me anymore.
It's exactly it. They've dropped the subject.
Yeah, they're like, well, let's talk about something else. Oh, no.
Well, you see what I do.
Yeah.
I openly invite a select few to come here often. Come on. Come, I'll bring the gear. I'll buy your seltzers. Sit there. Crickets.
They don't want it.
No.
Because they know they can't defend half the shit. But it feels good in their little bubble.
Yeah.
It's sad. Let's move on to a little bit of a news item. I wanted to lead off with this because, I don't want people to think that this is just a free pass or a left v right, whatever. I want to go both ways here, and I wanted to start off with the post-mortem. Are you familiar? The Democratic Party released last week their infamous post-mortem of the 2024 election, which was this bought and paid for survey, analysis, research. Ken Martin is the head of the DNC, Democratic National Committee, and he hired a firm that has worked with the Democratic Party forever, and they were basically tasked with, tell us what went wrong, right? Which I thought was kind of funny out of the gate because it's like, okay, if you're not blind, if you're not deaf, and you understand English, you kind of know what went wrong, right? But we're going to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on this thing, inside money. And lo and behold, here it comes. And I wanted to get you guys' take on kind of the response to the postmortem, because the Democratic Party historically has always been kind of accused of being, for good or worse, or better or worse, whatever it's called, the big tent party, right? We're open to everybody. But it seems as if what has happened in national federal elections in particular is that when we do open up as a, quote, big tent party, and I keep saying we, it's because I'm not a Republican at this point in time, but I'm an independent, but right now it's a binary choice. So I want to get that out of the way.
Well, I'll second that motion. I've been an independent forever, but if there's an R next to somebody's name, they won't get my vote unless it says R, fuck Trump, and then maybe I'll consider it. But
I would have voted for Thomas Massey. Like I was like, I would vote for that guy.
In hindsight, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, Thomas Massey is awesome, right? He's like, you know what? Fucking burn it down. Let's go.
Don't hate me.
So
for
here's-
this. I like what he did on the Epstein files, but I do not like. I don't like most of his policies. I don't like half the. Like he votes with
not.
Trump like 90% of the time, but he did do one good thing. And look how low that bar is right now for Republicans. He did one good thing.
And he did it on his way out. He didn't stick his neck out.
Well, he just got chopped off.
But
yeah.
what I'm
But,
saying
I mean-
is like, I'm already on my way out.
So,
Mic drop.
So, I
so
mean,
here's
it's
here's
that
here's
kind of
here's
shit.
my big take on the postmortem, and I want to get your guys' take. The core, I should say not the core, the progressive portion of the party tends to get the most social media attention. It just is. It's a fact. It started with Bernie, and it's kind of moved down through the ranks, through the AOCs of the world, et cetera, and tends to be much more of this true progressive ideology with what's going on with Mamdani in New York, et cetera. And a lot of that camp, when this was coming down the pipe, they kept on saying it was because of Gaza. It was because of Gaza. It was because, backed off of this is just a neocon version of the party, and we're not going to support that. And we all know what happened in 24. And now the report did say that there was an estimated, I think, and I'm trying to remember from memory here, 4 to 6 million people that were historically Democratic voters that were further left that sat out because Harris and her platform didn't come out and say, we are going to oppose Israel in support of Gaza. Now, 4 to 6 million voters across those battleground states, that's a swing. That's a new president, right? So I wanted to get you guys' take on just sitting in the cheap seats, that we have, how much of the situation we're in is due to self-inflicted wounds by purity tests on the left.
I'm a large percent. I mean, I know people, especially queer folks that I know, who refused to vote for Kamala Harris because she was a cop at one point, like had ties to the police, and like, I'm not voting for a cop. Okay, I'm voting for not that guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing, because I know the actual dumpster that we're about to be thrown in, and it's going to be set on fire. Mm-hmm. And this is a point, actually, this is a good spot here, because this is when I talked about self-righteous indignation. That's real, and that's both sides. That's not a partisan issue. Self-righteous indignation, people are addicted to it.
Does it bother you more when you do hear from the queer community political rants against a Democratic candidate as we enter into a November election cycle for Congress, for Senate, or president, when the alternative is not theoretically, it is physically, it will manifest itself as worse for that group of people as a member of that party. What does that conversation even look like in your world? Or are you just like 10 years of this shit? I'm tired.
Something that I really started paying attention to with when Bruce Franks was running, when the very first, and had a lot of. I had a lot of conversations with Mark Kostelsky, actually, who was working for Bruce at the time. And for me, it turned into, okay, we are at the World Series. This is it. This one or this one is going to win, and that's it. The time to talk about what team could be part of it is at local elections. And that's when I really woke up in those conversations and realized, okay, no, I don't really want to vote for a cop either. No, I don't really want to, vote for someone who is still supporting the Zionist agenda, honestly, which you'd be hard pressed to find anybody who's not or hasn't been assassinated yet in politics. And I don't want to vote for any of that, but I definitely don't want what's coming down the pike with this, pardon me, motherfucker. So I'm going to vote for the one that it will at least cover it up a little bit. And then I'll start working toward eliminating that. I mean, go and vote in your small elections. Go be part of your community. That's how you handle those things.
How do you view the all or nothing mantra from a lot of the further left
Okay, so I'm about as far left as one can get. As your big tent party goes,
Do you own guns?
So, oh yeah, 100%. Oh yeah.
Hi, we're from Granite City.
Like you can pick your caliber.
Do you believe in capital punishment?
Guns since I was 10.
Pedos, yes. 100%.
Okay, so you're not as far left as you thought you were. No.
I'm so far left, you get your guns back, man. That's how far left I am. Okay.
Okay, I see it
Full
now.
circle. Yeah.
You know?
Is that
No.
clockwise or counterclockwise?
He is constructing a guillotine right now on the farm.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, so like this big tent party, so it's a cool thing that we have so many different opinions and views. But what the Trump side did, they literally just played to base fears, right?
100%.
And so when you have a smarter electorate, people are going to bicker over the petty little things like, well, it's Gaza, it's not Gaza. No, but I don't like what happened in Gaza. Is that going to stop me from voting? No, because once again, I see the dumpster fire. And so regardless of what the survey says, fuck all of that. Mm-hmm. It needs to be petty. And so this next election is going to be petty. The people who go, fuck AIPAC, fuck Donald Trump, I don't care what my policy is on anything else. If they come out and say those two things, I'm voting for them. Like right off the bat. And that's what it needs to go to. And so with this big tent party, you have lots and lots of issues. And those are great, and we can nuance those all day long. But if you don't win the World Series, your thing, you don't get to see who's going to play next. You don't get to pick your batting order if you lose. Like
I 1,000%.
On the next game.
That's
the issue.
I was so dumbfounded by the role, the vehement defense of trans in sports in particular. That one topic, because here's how I viewed it. I heard the left say, we need to protect this. And I looked, I didn't even have to listen to the right. All I had to do was look at their fucking faces and to see their like dumbfounded nature when it came to that particular topic. I'm like, there is no argument that's going to convert any of them ever. And if we elevate certain things that they're 120% losing topics when it comes to binary choice. Mm-hmm. Strategically, this is what the Republicans do better than Democrats for a long, long time. They run campaigns to win. They don't run them based on the better policy. They run them to win.
They don't have good policies, and even the policies they run on, they don't actually back up. So it doesn't really matter. They literally just lie to their people.
So
I'm not saying Democrats lie to your folks, but I mean, keep it simple.
Well, that's where I'm going with this closing part of this, and then you're up clockwise. You're next. Pick each of you one thing. If the Democrats ran this next campaign cycle singularly, just like the Republicans have historically, because what they did the last election was immigrants, border immigrants, immigrants taking your money. It was all the same thing, but that's what they elevated. Even though they could have easily elevated inflation and cost of living, which were all real issues, statistically. But that's what they did. If the Democrats were to do the same thing in the fall, one thing, what do they talk about?
I think they talk about, I'm one person, and here are the things that I stand on. Behind me are many that have different stances in similar areas, that have the capability to make change where you'd think I might be failing, but I'm holding the door open. And that's my job. Right now, I've gotten to this point, and I want to hold the door open for people who have different opposing views, for people who are really looking to like make a change. So I might be a cop or a former cop or whatever, and you don't like me, and I get it. I understand. You get to have that because you know what? The right has been working so hard on divide and conquer for so long. And I don't want to divide and conquer. I want us to unite. I don't want to buy into that. And so I'm holding this door open. And so this person that you like, because I'm in this party, I want to make sure that they have the chance to speak and they get a chance to get up to this level too. I want them to communicate that they are holding the door for others and that we are legion if we are together.
This next election, I'm going to make it, for me, it's super simple. Prosecutions. 100%. We're going to be petty as fuck. Mm-hmm. There's no, it's time to move on. No. We're prosecuting every motherfucker who's in the Epstein files. We are prosecuting every bit of corruption. We are clawing back every fucking penny that the Trump and his administration, his cronies have stolen from us with their crypto bullshit and their fucking stock trades, their illegal stock trades right before his fucking announcement. Every one of them, that's my thing. Democratic Party, listen the fuck up. Prosecute these motherfuckers. Run on that. I don't give a shit if they want to set the fucking atmosphere on fire. I don't like that. Obviously, I'm a big climate change guy, but at this point, fuck it. Prosecute these bastards.
So if I'm the quote director of this campaign and you're the two pitching it, the reason I would go with what you said, Matt, is because I think the simplicity in hate, the simplicity in anger, given what we've seen in our elections. Because you laid out a picture that was definitely it's empathetic. It carries hope with it, and I think like we all fundamentally know we need that. But to say we are going to put these motherfuckers, these guys that stole, that broke the law, that that corrupt, boom, 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 that are anti-law and order, we're gonna hammer all of them.
Yep.
You're going to confuse some people that believe they're MAGA.
Yeah.
We hit that shit first.
Yeah.
I want a better world for everyone. I want universal health care.
Oh.
I want all sorts of wonderful stuff. This country could be fucking great. It really could be. But we're limiting ourselves by bullshit. Right?
Now batting
but
the guillotine in the batter's box. Single payer.
Now, prosecute the shit out of them. And it's the hate and
totally
pettiness.
agree with that.
Everybody's so fucking angry right now watching this go by.
Yeah.
So take one from the Republican Party.
All right.
Issue. Boom, nail it.
Melinda, what topic of the day is in your crawl? Like,
I mean, it wasn't. It actually did lead to this, but I was going to start with, let's talk about fucking celebrities doing commercials for Big Pharma.
oh, which one?
And let's talk about, speaking of, let's talk about where we spend our money. And like that leading to, so.
When you say big pharma, are we talking
Try and
drugs in
Tresto.
general?
Yeah, try it. I mean, I have the free TV app, the Pluto, and every fucking commercial is try and Tresto, try Sky Rizzy, try Dirtly Dir, or whatever. Might make you shit your pants and never be able to have sex again, but you won't have a twitchy leg. And it's, and the gambling apps. Like, I feel like, now I did really enjoy Robert Goulet's Emerald Nuts commercial, and also
That was a good one.
Robert Loggia Orange Juice commercial. Amazing. But celebrities now they're like working for Big Pharma, working for gambling. Gambling suddenly is just a thing that we're going to do with our phones because we need to keep America stupid, keep them in this state. Mm-hmm. And we're stupid and broke. And that's I can possibly win millions of dollars and be like these people. No.
What's your take on GLP-1s?
I'm not a fan. I don't think.
No, the data that's coming out on those right now is not good. It's not healthy for you.
I also, in the defense of the other team here, I hate pills, medicine, shots, anything. I'll get a shot because you have to be vaccinated.
I love that you put it that way because that's what there are incredibly brilliant strategists that work for the Republican Party. This is a perfect example because what they're able to do is take literally a 95-5 issue and make it their own. Mm-hmm. Now they bastardize it on the backside,
totally,
but they can put it on a bumper sticker and literally 100% of the population will understand it and probably 99% will agree with it. For example, what you were just talking about, that's Maha. Mm. This is the thing coming down. Look, if they just would have led with no more red dye in food, that's what we're going to do. And, and they stopped right there.
Yeah.
They would have won. They would have been able to do that as well, move that forward. But the second they do that and they see, oh, look, we have all this support, they immediately then go, well, let's, no more. You don't have to take measles shots anymore. Okay. Well, that's kind of an issue.
Yeah.
So how do you, like, this is, what would you tell Democrats, Matt, as it pertains to looking at the reality of the language? When you have, how do we dumb this down?
So there is so much stupid right now. Like they literally go, and so I see some holistic people in the whole nine. Well, I kind of agree with what Brainworm Guy's saying. Like, the ex-heroin junkie who snorted cocaine off a toilet seat, he had a good point about red dye. I agree with the red dye thing, but it's one of those things. It's that turd brownie, right? there's only one turd in this whole brownie. You don't eat the fucking brownies. And so for me, my son, when we go through, we look at food packages. If it says red 40, the dyes, it has any of the dyes on there, we don't buy it. And so I have one simple rule when it comes to food. I do not eat crude oil. That's it. If it's a crude oil derivative, I don't buy it. I don't eat it. And that's where a lot of your dyes are coming from. And like sodium benzoate's a big one. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but that's a big one.
You sound like Dana. We talk about microplastics.
I literally have wooden cutting boards. I don't have plastic cutting boards. But yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that goes with it. And what would I tell Democrats is keep the good stuff. But I mean, let's focus. Nobody should be dying of measles at this point in time. Nobody should be dying of polio. Nobody's dying of polio right now because of vaccines. And so Google is interesting because people can look shit up. And so, okay, all right, I'm going to step back real quick on this one. We used to think it was lack of information was the problem. And you go, but the internet came along. So it's not lack of information. And you go, okay, it's the ability of people to process information. That's the real issue.
Well, I'll give you a perfect example.
Hold on, and you go, wait a minute. It's really easy to process information. It's not that hard. That is not a hard skill to learn.
Let me give you a perfect example on the medical kind of healthcare MAHA side, and specifically on the anti-vax side. You got a member within one of my inner circles that was freaking out over just too many shots, 72 injections and blah blah blah, and I'm like, and this person is in the industry, right? A caregiver. And I'm like, for a second, I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? So I went back and I'm like, this can't be right. Because like Kim predominantly took the kids when they were small to the doctor, but I took them to a lot of appointments. I didn't see 72 needles on any one of my three. No. So when I get into it, here's where like the Republicans just take it way too far. Here in the state of Missouri, the actual number, if you have a kid that is in the system, specifically the public school system, because that's what we're talking about. You have to have your vaccination
Fifth
card,
grade,
right?
Ninth grade, going into college.
It's like 28. Now, that number also seems rather large, but what it is when a child is small, it's hey, this is 2 doses or this is 3 doses over 3, 4, 5 years, right? So you add it all up. That's all of those, the MMR and, et cetera, et cetera. The other, 44 that they are like, this is government overreach, those are suggested injections. That's the flu shot. That's the flu booster. That's whatever. Those are suggested. They're not mandated. They're out there. And we live in a country with free will, and a educated Democrat on the left that's pro-vaccinations is going to be like, well, I don't do the flu shot.
I don't do the flu shot.
But I did all the shit that the government said, hey, guess what? Research shows this will fuck you up.
I mean, I'm getting my second shingle shot next week.
Well, this is middle age.
Yeah. I don't want shingles.
Well, let's look at the difference, though. Like the COVID vaccine, took that, got my boosters, but I also don't take the flu shot, is because the flu shot is based upon, from my understanding of it, is the previous years, they took like 25 of the top 5, and they put them in there. And so I have enough of a healthy immune. If I was immunocompromised, okay, I'd probably take a flu shot. But I'm on a farm. I'm not around a lot of people.
It's also situational. It's also like, we've given up on the social contract. Because that's how I view a lot of the vaccination debate. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, it's one thing. Take your individual health scenario, right? What are you predetermined to? What's the risks for you, et cetera? If you have high risk, if you got lung issues or you have heart issues or whatever, that makes sense. You're going to take the vaccinations to try and mitigate the overall risk. Yeah. But there's also the social construct realm, which is, are you a teacher? Are you a nurse? Are you in environments in which you have high propensity of engaging other individuals? So that if you were a carrier, where's the risk reward?
Well, like people who work in food service, you're required to have a Hep A vaccination, and
restaurants
rightfully so. And restaurants are required to have those records on hand anytime the health department comes in to make sure that the people who are working in the space have been vaccinated.
I would love anti-vaxxers. That would be one thing. Like they walk in like, hey, you fucked the COVID shot, right? Well, okay. Well, would you like the chef to not have Hep A shot?
Yeah.
Like it's this, you know.
Do you want to have like
most of
fecal
all
matter
of
in your
this-
food?
Yeah, right.
Most of all of this is really easily fixed with a little bit of knowledge, and that's it. It doesn't take long to knock down a lot of these stupid beliefs that people have. They just don't care.
Speaking
They
of a little
just
bit of
don't-
knowledge,
it's the want to know.
Let
They
me-
just don't
Yeah.
care.
I'll throw you a
Goes
quick.
back to celebrity.
Yeah, I'll throw you a quick anecdotal response to that, and then Matt, it's your turn. The whole little bit of knowledge thing. There was a post from some. It's a Republican senator in the state of Missouri that I troll him. I troll him on purpose because I want him to know I exist. And he had put this post out saying, you know, the Ivy League institutions, the law schools have gone too far left, too woke, right? And it showed a chart of. Probably a totally bullshit chart, but it was obviously up and to the right as far as the percentage of people that claim to be liberal or on the left in the staff of law, law and the law school. And my reply to him was, well, it has been documented that education and critical thinking are attributes higher in the Democratic Party. Therefore, if the Ivy League law schools are up and to the right, that tracks. And he was, he didn't get it. I'm basically saying you don't have elevated education nor the ability to have critical thinking because most of those people tend to be liberal. They tend to understand that things are much more fluid. So, like, I don't know. It made me want to drink at 6:45 in the morning.
He's
is what
also playing to his constituency.
100%.
I mean,
because
and-
This goes back to the victimization of, I couldn't get into college. Well, my point, we're just staying on this, is critical thinking. So I think that critical thinking. So the first time I took that class was in college. I took that class and it changed the way I think.
The first time I took it was showing up late after curfew, talking to my parents. How am I going to get out of this?
It was this weird little teacher, and he's just like, my first philosophy class. Like, I didn't want to go to college. I literally went to college because I was on the GI Bill. I'm like, sure, I'll go to the college. Why not? And so I walk in this philosophy 101 class, and it's this little dude in a bow tie, and he's like, welcome to Philosophy 101. How many of you think you're critical thinkers? And of course, everybody puts their hand up. We're all 19, 21, 18, whatever. I was fresh out of the military. And he goes, that's why most of you are going to fail my class. I'm like, what a dick. And then we take the class, and so many people struggle with it. Very few people got it, like, right off the bat. Towards the end of the class, you get it, because it's about how you think, right? Not what to think, but how. It was the first class. It was a class that I actually like college. Like, I hated school growing up. You just memorize and regurgitate and spit it back out. And I was really good at that. I've got a good memory for it. But college goes, no, we're going to teach you how to think, which is a totally different concept. That one class alone set the trajectory for the rest of my life.
But see, this is where Republicans and conservatives will hear you say that, and they're going to be like, see, it's indoctrination. But what you're describing is the process of how to evaluate data.
Correct.
Not what to think.
Exactly.
It's how
and so my point is being that we should be teaching that as young as the 5th grade. Right, so the principles of critical thinking, 5th grade, boosters in 7th, and then in high school. So when we're looking at things like civics, right, in 1746, no. We're not talking about that, or 1786. We're talking about what was going on during the time, like what was actually happening. And so we can evaluate information. That's the whole part with critical thinking. And if we had a nation of critical thinkers, we would not be in this dumpster fire that we're in now, because it doesn't take much to analyze and go, wait a minute. The business guy who had like 7 fucking bankruptcies and was a reality TV star because they couldn't actually get a real businessman on there because they were too busy running fucking businesses.
Right.
So they take a fake. You could see through all the bullshit like right off the bat. And we don't have that. We have people that want to feel good about what they already think. And that's where we're
That
at.
goes
We don't have
hand in hand
critical
with
thinkers.
algebra.
And religion.
I mean, that's where you learn logic, which I agree, critical thinking should be taught before you get to college.
Oh,
And also
100%.
1776, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Well, 1786, but anyway, there's a reason for that.
I got you. But no, 100%. And algebra, along with critical thinking, same thing, teaching you how to process information, not what your outcome should be.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're more concerned with the the one book in the back stack that is collecting dust that needs to be burned because a kid that can't even reach the shelf is going to, sit down on the floor and read Tolstoy.
Yeah.
It's just mind-boggling.
They're so worried about being exposed to information. And you're like, well, he read a book about being gay before he's gay. No, he's probably already gay before that. Just like you watch baseball every week, right? When baseball season's on, you're not a good baseball player. And watching it doesn't make you the thing. Understanding it doesn't make you the thing. That's just, but the concept that is, if you watch it or you see it, therefore you are it. That's not the case. And we see this every single day.
Getting rid of that information or making it less accessible for people is the process of also attempting to eliminate compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Like empathy and compassion are dirty words. That's all over the Epstein crap anyway.
Well, that's one of the things that blows my mind. Again, I'm going to go back to kind of referencing our own youths, and this is probably anybody.
Did you say youths?
Youths. Anybody's youths across the country, and that is like this idea. Somebody sent me a video earlier today where it was a guy. It was a call-in show, and the woman was like, I just think you're going too far on President Trump. He really has good intentions, and the guy's like, look, okay. Are you a mother? And the woman was like, yes. He's like, well, he goes, give me a second. I'm going to paint a picture here and let's see where we're at. And you already know where this is going. He's like, hey, imagine going back in time and you meet this individual that is your neighbor and he's married and then he cheats and he's married again and he cheats and he's married again. And then due to the statute of limitations, another woman that probably could have filed for rape charges was only able to charge him with sexual misconduct or whatever it was, the E. Jean Carroll case. And then that you find out that in private, while there's a microphone that's hot, he says, it's okay if you just walk up to a woman and grab him by the pussy and blah, blah, blah. He just ripped off kind of a timeline. Mm-hmm. The question he closed with was, you have kids. If that's your neighbor and they have kids, do you allow your children to go play with that person? Mm-hmm. Right? And I think like when I zoom out and I look at this whole scenario that we are all living in real time, that is the metric, the litmus test that I go to with family members, with friends / ex-friends, classmates, work, neighbors, etc. If you support and continue to support this individual, how is it that all of these social expectations, as far as like, how would you protect your own? How the fuck do you throw them out the window every single time?
Okay, so I've had multiple conversations with multiple Trumpers, and the varying degrees of this, but what it comes down to is they don't believe it. They don't believe it. And you'd be like, yeah, but there's the evidence. Well, that's not true. Are you showing videos? They're like, yeah, that's AI. That was 1992. This was before AI. Well, they could go back and do it. Like he literally told the 10-year-old, I'll be dating her in 10 years, right? Like this is ridiculous, or 8-year-old, whatever it was. It's ridiculous. But they don't want to believe these things. And I blame it on religion.
They do.
So
They do believe it even if they say that they don't. But I'll tell you what it is, and I know it from my family, from my experiences before even any of this. Because I remember when Bill Clinton, that whole situation.
Slick Willie?
When Slick Willie got Lewinsky'd, he was not a man of God, and that's unbecoming of the president. First of all, it was consensual, and it's none of our business, and that's between them and their marriage and whatever, and I'm not defending it either. I think he was an asshole. But I would still vote for him. But that was the thing that made my mother just hate him, and he's a sinner, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's apply that here.
Let's fast forward a little bit.
And what it comes down to is, and this is something, thank you very much, second wave feminism versus Reagan era, single issue voters. That's when that showed up. Abortion became the single issue voter thing, and then Republicans were like, bing, we know what we can do.
Yep.
We're going to have this one thing that is no matter what. And so they started playing that. And it's still a thing today. Well, and maybe it's not abortion anymore, but they support Israel. And all Christians, the United States, I swear somebody would even, a pastor in this country will probably even say that, in the end times, the rapture's coming, and in the end times, it will only be the United States that supports Israel.
Again, I blame religion.
That's where we
all this stupid
100%.
thinking.
But this has been,
Yeah.
I mean, since Lords and Serfs. I mean, we went into.
It's funny how
we
they-
went down the Constantine rabbit
It's funny
hole,
how they all ignore the very next part of the book, in which everybody dies.
Well, the Bible's the
Everybody.
The Bible's the book of multiple choice, right? Like you get to cherry pick here and there.
Yeah.
But two things, real quick.
That's why I like
Monica
Catholics.
Lewinsky-
They can just go every Wednesday and ask for forgiveness, and boom,
but
reset.
They can't ask. They got to ask somebody else to ask for them.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I know. It's
You got to put in a request.
one of the,
But that's what the tuition is for.
so like Monica Lewinsky, nobody talks about her. Like her life was ruined. Like she will always be known as that girl. Like, but nobody talks about her. That's the first point. And the second point, I forgot. But
You were doing great.
we were talking
doing
about that.
great.
But yeah, anyway.
Because you had Monica in your brain?
I had Monica.
Like,
in
oh my
brain.
God.
And you're
but
like-
I was thinking about that. But yeah.
But yeah, single issue voters.
Oh, that's it.
And then they'll say, well, I don't believe it. But because you need to not believe it. Because if you believed it, it would be too terrible for you to be lined up with this person. So you have to deny it.
You know
know
what
the
I compare it to? I compare it to college football, right? And I'm not even a college football fan, but I know plenty of people that are. That they go to a school, or maybe they grew up in a state, and that is their flag, right? And what happens is your loyalty to said flag supersedes any reality as it pertains to said team in a season. If you're an Alabama
Roll
football
Tide.
fan, or you're Roll Tide, baby,
Yep.
right? And they go 0-11, what are you going to say?
Roll Tide.
Bingo. See, I
So
mean,
it's the team thing.
I know
it's the
the
team
Roll Tide.
mentality.
and so the second
So-
that your team actually sucks, your bench sucks, your starting quarterback sucks, you're losing, you're fumbling the ball at every single turn. If we're going to stick with the football analogy here, what's happened with so many conservative Republicans that are far right, and really what it is they don't like colored people, they don't like gay people. That's kind of the past. The single issue is really three things: they don't like gay, they don't like color, and they don't like gay people. So that's three. And what happens is, in order to avoid admitting that your team sucks, you have to toe the line. You're going to root for them no matter what, and it feels at every single turn. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the data. It doesn't matter the court ruling. It doesn't matter the witness statements. It doesn't matter the actual video proof.
They picked a team and ran
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. 100%.
So here's the single issue. I don't know if you know this part about this, but the whole abortion issue. There was a book written called The Birth Dearth. Have you heard of this? Mm-mm. Okay, so this was written after Roe versus Wade in the 70s, and the guy's name was like Wheaton or Weston or something like that. Total white supremacist guy, as far as I can tell from his readings. But he basically says, and the Republicans turned. So before Roe versus Wade, the Christian communities were like, sure, no problem. Like, that's your body. Like, and they were helpful. They were helping people out get abortions when they were still illegal. Like, it was one of those things to where a lot of the Christians were behind Roe versus Wade. Well, the Birth Dearth comes out, and it basically says, hey, wait a minute, white people are going to be the minority if this keeps up. And so how do we fix that? And so the Birth Dearth talks about immigration. Well, let's have immigration issues. Now, this is just a book, but it looks like the Republicans took this book and ran with it. That's why I'm pointing this out. And so they said, well, let's do immigration. But we're not getting the European immigrants that we were before. So that's not what we're just getting brown people and Southern people. We don't want that. We want the white Europeans, so we're not going to do that. So they look at the abortion issue. They're like, we need to have more babies, so let's encourage women to have babies. But that's going to encourage the wrong women to have babies. And we don't want that. And they go, over 60% of the abortions were being done by white women. So they go, that's our issue. And so they turned abortion into nobody has abortions, because if we keep that, that's 60% of those abortions that are now added to the white population. So in a sense, right off the bat, the abortion issue is racist at its face. And so when they go, we're going to put abortion clinics in low-income areas to help women, which is good, don't get me wrong, but they also selectively put them in colored low-income areas.
Yep. So let me kind of add on to that and just get your guys' take, because obviously, Melinda, you've been in the industry, the food and beverage industry, probably your whole life, right?
A good amount, yeah.
Your peers, people, are constantly a rotation of new young professionals, either looking for a way through, or maybe it's a pit stop, or maybe they just really like the industry. My point is, the demo. Matt, you've got a lot of friends in similar circles. You have a son. I have 3 kids, one in particular that is a junior. Well, now he's a senior in college. And when I think about this thing, I think about not so much the race side of abortion, of choice, et cetera. I look at the landscape that young people are entering into. Specifically, if you check the boxes, I went to grade school, I went to high school, I did well, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get a graduate degree, or even not, and then I'm going to enter into the workforce, I'm going to get a job. And I would love to meet somebody. I would love to maybe start a family. I would like to get a house. I would love a new car. I'm tired of the one that my parents gave me, and on and on and on and on. Right? If we just assume this American life is a linear path, right?
Yeah.
The reality is, once you get to if you get to college, what happens is the economic restrictions have accelerated.
Oh, and will especially again in July.
Yeah. So my question is, do you think we're seeing an argument in regards to population issues, to abortion? Are we seeing it kind of ignore the elephant in the room, and that is kids can't afford it?
No.
It's not about choice as much as it is they're afraid of the financial pitfall.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Especially like in the service industry. I mean, I also have worked with a lot of the same people for a very long time because nobody's leaving it.
Yeah.
And it kills me. It's so interesting to me when people are like, what's your real job? What are you looking to do? Well, this is it. You know why? I control my schedule. I control my money. I control when I worked in an office, I had to select the December prior to the following year when I was going to take 2 weeks to myself. And then the rest of it, they owned. No matter what. And especially, I don't want to say kids, but the Utes these days, they see that too and have realized, and also have very supportive parents. And, you know what? I don't want to subscribe to that. So I'm only going to be available, even if it's their only job, I'm only going to be available 3 days for the 3 shifts this week because I have stuff I want to do. I'm going to go camping. This is a very normal thing, and it blows everybody's minds who are, our age or even millennial minds. But I'm talking Gen Z and Alpha and whatever, all the new things we're calling people. And this is revolutionary because what these kids, I'm sorry, kids, what these kids have figured out is that time is your gold. Mm-hmm. And you can go to college and be a slave to that. But, before education was free, and now there's a lot of education online that you can do for free.
So I think back to my own experiences this would have been in, 93, 94, 95-ish. Maybe, around then. Bartending at Excalibur on the weekends. How about them apples? I was a bartender server at Houlihan's as well.
Fairview Heights?
Correct.
Yeah.
So I was kind of, stuffed mushrooms, baby. Kind of rotating in and out of the industry. Those were the first 2 starts, and I stayed in it for a long time. But I specifically remember, when I think back to that time, all the people that I worked with, there was a general feeling in so much that, and this is a boomer representation, in which it was a pit stop.
Yeah.
It was like, even the bar staff. There was one guy that was in the bar at Houlihan's that, we were like, oh, that's the old guy. And he was like 42. And it was like, that's his job. Mm-hmm. And the rest of us, that's our shift.
Yeah.
Across the whole space. But but I think, and I know, from Gaslight, and obviously you see it front row, that mindset of this is my job versus this is my shift, what's next? Mm-hmm. It's pivoted. More and more people are like, this is my job.
Yeah.
Well, I think the question is why, right? And so I'm coming from the oil industry, right?
You can make money hand over fist.
Well, no, what I'm saying is so I kept hearing from the guys in the oil industry, nobody wants to work anymore. No, people do want to work, but they just realize the American dream that was sold to us as kids is dead. they're never going to have that. It's too far out of reach. And so you can claw and scrape and climb and try to get that just in hopes that when you're 60 years old, you can own your own place and not have to do that anymore.
Well,
or you can go, fuck that. I actually want to enjoy my time, enjoy myself, and I don't want to be a part of this game anymore. So it's not that they don't want to work. They don't want to work shitty hours for shitty people for a shitty life that ends up on a fucking 60-year-old rocking chair to go, I did it. Did what, motherfucker? You didn't do shit.
City of St. Louis is a perfect example of that. And I've personally witnessed the shift, within the industry that I was working in for a long time. Real estate renovation, homeownership, et cetera, right? I worked on the south side a lot. Historic buildings, the 2-to-1 conversion, or maybe it's the 2-family reno, and you would see these people coming in from, around the region and frankly all over the country that, say somebody moves here from Chicago and they go down to South Grand, they go to Utah Place, and they're like, are you kidding? I can get this 4,000 square foot brick house for $250,000, $350,000, right? It was blowing their minds, right? That was in 07 through 12, et cetera. And now you fast forward to now, and you look at the young professionals that are coming into the city. A lot of people are like, well, they can't afford these houses, and which is absolutely true. But I think we're not really being honest with ourselves as far as what are these kids really looking for. Anytime a tower is built, whether it's Ballpark Village or new apartments in Soulard or it's the Foundry apartments, whatever, they are at capacity. And so you ask yourself, who are these people? Who the fuck is renting $1,500, $1,800, $2,200, $3,000 a month, right, in these towers whenever we have a city that's losing population? Like, it's not adding up. But I think along the lines of what we're talking about, the next generation of young earners realize that's what I want. I don't want to cut grass. I don't want to deal with an old building. I want to be around other social people. I'm never going to be able to squirrel away the 20% necessary, this $50,000, $70,000, $90,000 to buy a house that I don't even want to maintain. The market, these kids are telling us what's important to them, and boomers are saying that shouldn't be important to you. That's the disconnect.
Well, don't forget, too, a big piece of that is community. We don't have that too much anymore. And so as you'll in the service industry, bars are decreasing in sales across the board because the next generation goes, well, that's kind of dumb. And so that's okay. They don't like liquor. Like, liquor sales are down across the board.
Keller down in Nashville, my son, he was talking about, I don't like Broadway. I don't like you, Bill Holt. And I'm like, it's not that you don't like Broadway because you don't like the optics or the brand or the bros. You don't like it because you, my friend, can't afford a $9 Miller Lite.
Yeah.
And so, people are moving into areas, especially the younger generation, of where they're putting 3 or 4 people in a building or sharing a part because there's people there, there's community. In the age of the internet, where we're so far away, we're also still very close to each other. I mean, we have internet communities, we have regular communities. People want connection. And so the old system of get a house, you get one person, and you have children, and then hopefully you will have a life later. It's not working for people. It never really has.
It's commitment. It's back to the office job where you have to commit to this full year and these 2 weeks that you don't even know what you're going to do. It's commitment. If I get an apartment, every person that I have talked to, every bar none that I have talked to about man, our mortgage payment is 2/3 of what you pay in rent every month. Yeah, but I can move. Yeah. And I don't have to repair that porch. That's probably $5,000 repair, and it is.
And I'm not paying for the property tax.
And I'm not paying for the property tax. I can move.
I think
I like my building, and when something's broken, I call somebody and they come fix it, or I do a minimal fix until that happens. And the same thing with the job. You know what? This restaurant has turned to crap, and I don't like what they're doing anymore. So I'm going to go to this restaurant with the same regulars that go to this one, and I'll just get.
And the industry is dying for people, so mobility is easy.
And so
easier
and when
than
people
it has
say,
been.
"Oh, well, people don't want to work anymore," it's not. It's not that. It's not. It's all of these factors, but it's also when anybody says to me, and I mean, friends have said this to me who own businesses. Well, people just don't want to work anymore. No, you must be a crappy employer. Because guess what? There is selection. The job market is wide open. And if you suck repeatedly, you can mess up. But if you just suck people are leaving.
I have a lot of friends that are small business owners as well that do throw out that same narrative, and I constantly remind them, I'm like, all economies are supply and demand. You're sitting here bitching about the supply. Well, your demand and what you're providing isn't good enough. You're not getting into the supply because maybe it's you, asshole.
Yeah, it's exactly it.
I had a guy who ran warehouses, and he goes, "Nobody will come and work the forklift anymore. We can't get anybody." I was like, "Well, what are you paying?" He's like, $17 an hour. I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "Nobody's gonna come work freaking the hot ass warehouse
the
for
places
$17 an hour."
that I was hiring for, I have never had a problem staffing up until the very end there. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But I never had a problem staffing because we offered the right things.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, I think it's a recognition. I know the younger generation gets this. Is that sometimes it's a hard pill for people to swallow, but we're all prostitutes. We trade our bodies for money. We trade our time and our bodies for money, right? And so recognizing that, you go, wait a minute, that's a little weird. But it's true if you think about it, right? I'm going to give my time and money to another company. Am I getting a return on that? And the answer is pretty much no. And I'm going to jump into a little bit of conspiracy theory here and say that the reason we don't have universal health care is because employers would actually have to pay more. Because people would go, this is a shitty job with a shitty boss. I don't want to work here. And I don't have to because I'm not going to die if I get sick. Like they can literally go, you know what? And so employers, one of the best things we could do for our country, in my opinion, is to get universal health care. If we do that, look what happens. And people go, you know what? Yeah, I'm not working that crappy job unless you pay me more.
That's exactly what happened.
And so they're going to pay more.
That's what happened with Obamacare when that came out. And when it was like everyone was freed. Like, oh my God, I don't have to stay in this crappy office job. I can just get health insurance on my own and it's affordable. Affordable Care Act. And it freed so many people. I remember feeling that freedom.
And so when they say you can't work, you mean I'm not willing to fight for the scraps that you're willing to throw me? Mm-hmm. That means I don't want to work? No, it means I'm taking control of my own life. Yeah. And I don't want to fight for those scraps. Like, give me something good to chew on and I'll come work for you. Like, like that's pretty much it.
I'm right there, friend.
Yeah,
so,
and so if we had universal health care, it would solve so many problems. Our GDP would go up. Our healthcare costs would go down drastically, just as the government would, the single payer system.
That happened to a degree, but then we spent all of our time fighting to keep it after.
Well, it goes back to the college football analogy.
Mm-hmm.
The issue was basically Ole Miss invented Obamacare and Roll Tide couldn't accept it as good.
The funniest shit that I saw was when people go, hey, do you like Obamacare? Oh, Obamacare's terrible, whole nine. Well, do you like Medicaid, Medicare? Oh, yeah, I like that. What about the Affordable Care Act? Oh, yeah, I love that.
No, Medicaid is
it's
like...
the branding.
Medicaid has over a 75% satisfaction, positive approval rate. And here's the thing, and you touched on it, talking about GDP as it pertains to that. I watch CNBC in the mornings religiously. I like stocks, I like the market, etc. And when it comes to people on the right that talk about why low taxes are important, and then somebody asks them about the deficit and the debt, they're like, well, you can grow out of it. You can increase GDP fast enough, and eventually you balance your budget, and then you start to cut into the debt through growth. And I immediately go to, if you take any company in the world, right? We tend to run our companies on the edges. If there's a bell curve of the really, really good people and the really, really bad people, in most instances, you focus on the really good people to grow your business. But then you spend a lot of money on the really bad people to make sure that they improve. Because you need the people in the mailroom that are sweeping the floors and that are entry level. You need to get them into the middle and find out who's really good, right? Healthcare is the exact same fucking thing. If we were to take care of and create a safety net so that families didn't go bankrupt whenever the people that were really, really sick, you immediately are going to feed your employment pool. You're going to reduce liabilities. You're going to have more income and wealth.
Don't forget generational wealth that stays with the family.
Bingo. That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Whenever somebody, why is 5 years and 7 years such a dirty number to old people?
Yeah.
That's the fucking look back. Mm-hmm. If you have money and then you have to go into a home, if you didn't get rid of that money prior to 5 or 7 years, depending on what state you're in.
And divorce.
those little wellness centers and these retirement homes and these hospice centers, they're gonna go back and take all that money.
So, yeah, look how broke the system is. So we have these old people been married for like 40, 50 years, and one of them has to go into a home. In order to save the money, so it's not, they're like, hey, we're going to get divorced.
There it is.
I'm going to hang on to this. And they go, this was happening so often that they go, yeah, let's go ahead and change that. So now you have to get divorced 3 years prior to somebody going into a home.
Yep.
And so people were doing that. They'd hit like 55, they'd get divorced, stay together, and just in case something happened to one or the other, they could just transfer funds and call it a day. It got so bad, now it's like 5 years in some states, 7 years in other states that you have to be divorced, otherwise you're required to pay for that.
Well,
Instead of going, hey, wait, there's a real problem here, we could fix this. Nah, let's do
Well, I love the boomers too that are part of this. It always goes back to them because they are the ones that are the first to yell bootstraps, 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 right?
Yeah.
As they fight for elevated cost basis and this transfer of wealth that's non-taxable so that their kids and their kids' kids don't have to pull up their bootstraps.
Mm-hmm.
But while we're on Medicaid real quick and Medicare, I just want to poke in the eye at MAGA. Trump pardoned the guy who had the largest Medicare fraud.
Yeah.
Not only pardoned him, but let go of what he has to pay back to the taxpayers. And so I think there's billions of dollars in the multiple people that he's pardoned who have committed Medicaid and Medicare fraud. And they're like, yeah, he's getting rid of fraud. No, he is the fraud. And that's a perfect example of that. The one eye doctor who was giving people needless surgeries.
Yeah.
And then the therapy guy who was hundreds of thousands of made-up patients.
The one eye doctor.
the doctor, he was shooting people in the eye with injections that they didn't need. What the hell, man?
But also going back to the college football analogy, the other thing is Ole Miss thinks up Affordable Care Act, and Roll Tide doesn't want it. But Roll Tide also needs people to not be able to afford health care so that they stay in their crappy job, being a cog in the wheel, cog in the machine. Yep. Because we need minions for capitalism to work. We need you to want all these things so that you go on Saturday to Walmart and buy another huge TV because it's the new one, not because you need one, and you work overtime at the mill the rest of the week and kill yourself. And that's how this works.
Yeah.
So it's important that we don't have control over our situation. That's abortion, so women don't have control of their bodies. That's affordable care so that citizens of this country
This is drug dealing 101.
Yes.
First hit's free. Mm-hmm. Then you're hooked and you're poor, and I'm going to keep you that way.
Well, and if people are so worried about where their next meal comes from, they're not worried about overthrowing the people who are keeping the
Prometheus and the fire on that one. Yeah.
Ooh, now that's a deep cut.
Sorry.
Well, to add to that, it's a Sisyphean task.
That's not even a B-side. That's like a 6-record collection. So let me throw out some, just a little bit more rapid fire stuff, because this has been fun. We'll have to do this again, by the way.
Yeah, I'll
put this on the calendar. What's more crazy to you? The Thug Slush Fund, the 1.776 billion to cop beaters, or the fact that Dana White is building a UFC ring cage on the White House lawn for the 4th of July party?
Camacho.
I just watched that last night. Jennifer had never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. She was like, "This is actually what's happening." I was like, "Huh."
So it's like the Trump administration took Idiocracy, House of Cards, and Handmaid's Tale and go, you know what? We can do something with these things.
Throw it all in the pot. We're gonna stir it up.
Yeah. So I think the slush fund is obviously the worst. Mm-hmm. And I find that one utterly grotesque for so many reasons. But what's interesting is they know it's illegal. They have to know it's illegal. They can't do that, and it's being challenged, right?
The two Capitol cops.
But because they got to have standing, right? But Mike Lindell and a couple of these other asshats have already filed their claims, and they're trying to get their claims pushed through rapidly.
The McCloskeys, right?
And they're like, "Here you go."
Yeah.
And so they're trying
for real.
They're trying to get their claims pushed through so they can get the money off the commission before they deem it illegal. So they're trying to offload this money as quick as they can. So once it goes out, I think there's some legality that they can't take it back or some shit like that.
Well, you remember earlier in the conversation, you were like, prosecute. Mm-hmm. What I hope happens here is, because a lot of these dirtbag attorneys that are going to be taking these cases for the McCloskeys of the world, et cetera. But more importantly, maybe like the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys guys that actually did all the beating, right? The attorneys that are working for them, they're not doing it pro bono. They're not. There is going to be a bill to be had, whether if this goes through and a check is cut, they're going to get paid from that. If this doesn't go through, there's going to be a bill to be had. So I think like the silver lining is that there's no fucking way Congress, with the amount of Republicans that have came out and said, what was it, Tom Tillis said, this is stupid on stilts, right? Yeah. And that's a diehard Republican. Now he's on his way out and he can say whatever he wants, but they can't. If this dies on the vine, all these hundreds and thousands of people that are like, oh, I was wrongfully, they're going to start racking up bills. So I think the acceleration of even more redneck bankruptcies is going to move faster. But to your point, I agree. So many things have I would say shocked at first. The first 5 years, I was shocked. The last 5 years, I've just been like, dumbfounded me. But this one, a slush fund for cop beaters. Like, how? Wait, there is no more shark. There's nothing to jump over.
They're not hiding it anymore. Like, it's so out in the open. Like, everything they're doing is just out in the open now.
Y'all have been, your thin blue line people out there who've been arguing with all of us about, ICE, okay. So I beat the crap out of an ICE agent, and they raised $1 million to pay my bills. So that's exactly what's happening here.
If the slush fund goes through, I actually kind of want to see some fun stuff out of that. I want to see all the Antifa people. I want to see them file for it. I want all these big things out there. And so Antifa was at the January 6th insurrection. Cool. Then they should be able to get money if they were there, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, look at all the people on Gretchen Whitmer. Political violence. Does she qualify, or is it only people on the right?
Right.
And so how do we know? Well, we don't know, but there's a commission. But that commission is handpicked by Trump's personal attorney and himself. Like, this is stupid. Like, there's no good way to look at that and go, yeah, that makes sense, especially your thin blue line people. But those cops, they were different. Like, they make excuses for everything.
They got up and went to work that day, and their job is to defend the Capitol building, and then they were murdered. Like, there was literally a police officer murdered, and you're standing up for this and saying, you know what, we owe that murderer some money.
I love the righteous indignation whenever they start to what about the whole thing and talk about like a gas station in urban Portland. So we hold higher the relative value, the social relevance of a BP station in urban Portland how about a Quick Trip in Ferguson?
There you go.
That's more important than our capital.
Well, the thing is,
right,
the people who are responsible, who were setting things on fire, I don't care which protest, pick a riot throughout the country. I don't give a shit.
You burn shit, go to jail. That's my take.
If you break stuff, if you attack stuff, you hurt people, you go to jail. I don't care if you're on the right side of history or the wrong side of history. I don't care what side you're on. We don't do that. We don't destroy people. We don't destroy property. Like, it's not supposed to be. And what we're seeing is, of course, the two-stage of justice here. But I mean, just jump back to, there is no fucking line for these people.
No.
There's no fucking line. There was making fun of a disabled reporter. There's SA, 34 felony counts, corruption. I mean, you name it. There's been no line. Now we're literally giving money to cop beaters. There's no line. Gas prices are up. Grocery prices are up. Wars are started.
Well, it's
no
just,
fucking line. They don't. There's no
pushing to see what we can get away with, and it turns out we can get away with anything we want.
Yeah, because they got the people going. Yeah, we don't have a fucking line. You want to assault kids? That's cool. We got it.
So what's your
gross?
Let me close with one question, and then you chime in however you'd like. But how are you guys handling those in your circles that are 3-time voters and or consistently apologists?
Don't have them.
Yeah, I don't.
How is that possible? I mean, they're in your lives somewhere, either casually, directly, indirectly.
But it does not. The only person that it would ever come up with and has is my mom. And my response is, are we talking about this? Because I've got some things to say. And then it's dropped. People in my life, if that's where they are, They know better with me.
What's that? What's that one show, The Pod, where it's the brother and the sister that
The necessary conversation.
bingo?
Yeah, I don't have those conversations. And so my thing is this. It's not about politics. It's about fucking morals. And I am not going to stand side by side. I don't care who you are. You are not going to stand by my side if you support this shit. Like, I won't let you. Like,
I've given
get the hell away.
I've
And
given so many of them
I
in my world. Like, here's the deal.
I use this analogy. I go, I will burn bridges and I have more matches.
Yeah.
Well, I'm always like, look, because it becomes this Democrat versus Republican thing. I'm like, no, and I'm on your side. Like, this is a moral, ethical issue. There were plenty of other Republicans on the ticket that were in the primary that, whatever, you choose somebody else, choose anybody. You're telling me that you have a complete moral deficiency within the party in so much that this is the guy, this is the position, and then the domino effect of the cabinet in particular. Like, this is, we joke about idiocracy, but you're like, holy, just take Cash and Hegseth alone.
Oh my gosh, they're terrible.
But
War crimes, 100%.
This is y'all back actually to what I was bringing to the table today. Celebrity.
Yeah.
This is what we went with, and people will believe RFK because this celebrity said that he's a celebrity, and he's related to these celebrities. And so what he says, well, he's got some really good points.
Well,
no, he doesn't.
No, and we got Dr. Oz who's selling all the weight loss pills. Like, these are the people in charge.
Dr. Oz.
And Hegseth.
Linda McMahon.
Oh my
You know
God.
what I'm saying? Like,
How can you take a
this is
WWE
celebrity.
star, make him in charge of
but we got there
education?
with having Robert Loggia rep orange juice.
Like, what the
You know
fuck?
what I mean? And, which,
Like,
I mean,
I blame, you know what?
Baffles me. They literally
I'm going to go further back. I blame Bill Cosby and pudding.
nah, pudding.
It all started there.
I trust the pudding. I don't trust the drinks.
Yes.
But yeah, it's
Because I can't believe he was such a nice man.
No.
That's what we heard.
So I mean, we got like Hegseth was literally a Fox News host.
Yeah.
He has no idea what he's doing.
Celebrity.
Yeah, 100%. And so what is it? The Judge Pirro lady, whatever. These people are morons. The only people who look at them and go, "Oh, they're smart," are stupid fucking people.
That's my point. Is if celebrities are going to do commercials for things like big pharma or gambling or whatever, you know what? No, we took cigarette commercials off of TV, and it could only be in magazines a long time ago when we had, we gave crap.
The
about it.
Winston Cup is
But
now no longer.
but if celebrities are going to do a commercial, it needs to be a PSA. That's it, and then that's where we start. Like, here, some moral, just some basic ways of.
Well,
So
I'm okay with
we-
like Michael Jordan doing Nike commercials. Like that doesn't bother me. Okay,
But
you do the thing.
I don't care about Robert Loggia doing orange juice commercial, and I enjoy that commercial still. But and that's fine. But what I'm saying is, when I started, it was big pharma, gambling, things that could potentially hurt you. Like, we shouldn't have. Well, I'm John Hamm, and I'm in a bar, and I'm really cool. And
those are social.
put this gambling app on your phone.
Those are social pitfalls. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, can you ruin a budget by buying a pair of Jordans? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it addictive for some certain
Can
people?
you make Jordans so cool that you murder people for their shoes?
Did
Yeah.
you know there's a whole industry around shoes? I had no idea.
Where-
No,
because you live on a farm and you
Yeah,
like
you live on
you
a
grow peppers.
I worked with this guy who was like buying shoes. I'm like, yeah, he goes, no, I'll never wear these. He's like, I put them in, like, he had a whole cabinet full of
Reset STL, baby.
I mean,
Yeah, and he was selling the shoes
Yeah,
left and right.
right
Like,
over
oh my
the counter.
gosh.
What's-
What
yeah.
the hell?
I
I was like,
bought-
I didn't know that was a thing.
I saved up babysitting money to buy the Paula Abdul Reeboks when they came out when I was in junior high.
What were the
They were like
The pump?
They
What were
weren't
the
pump.
pump
They were
ones?
white, but they had like hot pink. They were actually lesbian colors, hot pink and orange piping. So which is very funny.
So final question. Blue team, red team, 2028. Who do you think is running? Got a stretch on that one?
Yeah. So
Who do you think versus who do you want versus worst case scenario?
obviously the red team, what I think is going to happen here, and let me give my prediction on this real quick. So in January of 2027, Trump's done regardless. It doesn't matter if blue wins or red wins, none of that.
Unless he refuses to leave.
No, he's done. So January in 2027, that's my prediction. No matter what happens, Trump will be out of the White House in 2027 in January. And that's because J.D. Vance is going to take over. So he would do it now.
This is conspiracy 101.
This is some Palantir shit. right?
This is me looking at the information. So if you do less than 2 years as vice president to president, you can still run for 2 full terms, right? So they're going to wait till January 21st of 2027, and then Trump's out. Like, he is literally telling secrets on TV now. His brain is so fried. Like, I mean, we have people on watching him, medical doctors going, hey, they literally just had a medical convention about this guy can't be, like, doctors, no, not political, just like, this guy's got frontal temporal dementia. He's a geriatric patient, heart failure, like the whole night. Like, he's done. They're literally propping him up until January. If blue wins, we know it's prosecutions left and right. And so who's going to run in 2028, I think, is going to come out of what happens in these midterms. If they cheat in the midterms, if they try to rig the elections and put ice at the polls, and red somehow wins, is going to be a vastly different incumbent or somebody running in 2028 versus if blue wins in 2020.
So
Or 2026. Does that make sense?
Let's simplify, though. Let's take conspiracy out as far as the JD thing goes,
Okay.
because realistically, in my opinion, I don't even think the right can stomach JD Vance.
They can't.
Because that if that dude walked into any one of their local pubs, the jukebox would screech like a bad movie, right? He is not one of them.
No, but I think the right wants to prop him up with Peter Thiel and the whole nine.
Exactly.
So,
So let's just go with
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Yep. I want him all day long.
That's
Like,
also
So you
who I was
want,
gonna
but who do you
say.
think? Because the problem with Buttigieg, with the big tint on the left, and I have a lot of African American friends that are actually good friends of mine that will never vote for a gay person, ever.
I get it.
But he's white and he's male.
Well, if we can pick a straight white guy, we'd go Bernie. But obviously, he's not going to
Well,
run in 2028.
But
Oh,
You know?
he'd be like 112.
But Pete is white and he's male, and he looks like somebody that they're going to want to vote
Well, he's
for.
the smartest guy in the room. Anytime that he starts to.
But JB has a point, though. I mean, there's certain people who won't vote for him just specifically because.
Well, let me just. How about this?
But that's who I would like.
That's probably too open-ended. Let me just. I'll just name names. We just said Mayor Pete.
Yep.
That's who you really like. Sounds like you like him some. You know.
Well, because we're going to have a man.
Yeah, it's going to have to be. So, right.
So my thing on him is.
And not because a man is better, but just because
Because
the
people
way things
won't
are set
vote
right
for
now.
Women who are
There will be a
overqualified.
Republican woman before there will be a Democratic woman
Yeah.
elected.
Right. And so that's, so I
Because
just want to make that
We've
very
had
clear.
2 overqualified women run
100%.
for this presidency.
Well, this last
Harris
round
was
on the
awesome.
Republican side, if Nikki Haley would have somehow made it through, I think that would have been 4 or 5 point victory for the Republicans over the splitting hairs with Trump. So I do think the nation is prepared for a conservative woman, in quotes, over a liberal woman as president. And I that's just kind of a sad state of affairs because we're still looking at kind of the billboard version of what are we voting for,
I would love to see Michelle Obama run.
I'll tell you what.
That's who I
she
would
have a
never.
chance.
But Marjorie Taylor Greene could potentially win it. She really could.
No.
Because she actually grew a pair. And
if she were
Spoke
to run and say, look, here's the deal.
I'm glad she did the right thing, but she's still dumb as a box of rocks.
I wouldn't vote for her. I don't like her at all.
What about Mark Rubio?
Speaking of
You
not
mean
having
Trump's butt plug?
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of not having a pair, also, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, every time it comes through my feed, all the clips of them talking about how
How awful he was.
awful Trump is. I'm a never Trumper.
Yeah.
It's J.D. Vance's.
Or the one that cracks me up the most is the Nazi thing. They're like, well, you guys call Trump a Nazi. J.D. Vance said he's America's Nazi.
Yeah.
That's your guy
But
saying
Marco
that about Trump.
Rubio he's either going to run for president or he's going to kill himself.
Well, because
That's where
his
he
like
is.
you credit where credit is due. While I don't like him, nor do I like his strategic policy directives, when he is on the mic, he has a presidential vibe to him.
He does.
He's
but
very good at what he does.
Flip flop.
Totally agree, and I think
So
that's
much.
I think that is the politician in him.
But we can see they don't care about flip flopping.
Newsom.
I like Newsom.
Yeah,
I
would vote for
like-
Newsom.
Do you like Newsom or do you like Newsom's brand and his tweets?
I like Newsom's social media representative. She's great.
And so we can look at two different things with Newsom. So the fact that he trolls the shit out of Trump is hysterical to me. I love that. The fact that he's got the balls to do it makes me really happy. The other thing is, let's look at California and look what he's done for California. Like California, what is it, the 4th largest GDP in the fucking world, just as a state? And he goes, hey, you know what, Trump, keep your shit up. You know, that's fine. You want to stop funding us? We're just going to stop funding the government. We're going to stop giving money over. And they're like, oh, hold on, wait a second. So as the 4th largest, is it 4th or 5th? Something like that. Anyway, it's
It's 4th in the world, actually, GDP.
Yeah. So it's one of those things. And it's managed very well. They have pretty much free health care across California for the most part, or better health care, I should say.
California has issues.
Yeah,
California,
it
But
does. I'm not
aside
saying it
from his
doesn't.
qualifications,
But
aside
it's
from his
surplus.
qualifications, Trump won on being a trolley piece of shit.
well, this is where when I
And
think of Newsom,
could win in that same.
I think of Newsom
I
in
agree.
the shallow lane, through the shallow lens of political optics. I think, just to be blunt, the way he looks,
Yeah.
he will win a large percentage of suburban women.
Yeah.
Just purely because of that.
And so
and I hate to admit that, but the polls don't lie. Statistics don't lie.
right.
I think he'd probably be a better candidate just because he checks all the boxes and he's a straight white dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, unfortunately,
I'd love to see Buttigieg. But
same here.
also, who my pick would be if I could pick? Tammy Duckworth. I love Tammy Duckworth.
yeah.
And but I mean, she would never win. Again, she's a minority.
And she has the stigma that Newsom has California. So everybody else in the world, specifically red states, are going to be like, California's fucked. Can't have him. She's going to be a Chicago kid. And everybody's going to be like, Illinois and Chicago so violent and it's corrupt. And
The hatred MAGA has for Pritzker cracks me
I
up.
do love Pritzker.
So I don't like Pritzker. I like him in the last couple of years.
love what he's doing.
Same
Yeah,
here.
he's
so
amazing.
Some of the shady shit he's done in the past, I've really not been a big fan of it. And they're like, he keeps winning. I'm like, run a decent candidate against him. Like, they run like Darren Bailey against him. I'm like, oh, so Trump's sycophant. The dude literally gets down on not literally. He gets on his knees and goes, yes, Trump. And he's waiting for it to drop in his mouth. Like, we don't want another sycophant. So if you don't like Pritzker, run a decent candidate. But the fact that Pritzker's standing up against Trump and be like, nope, didn't they pass something
get
about
out of our city.
You can now sue ICE? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that something they just passed?
Minnesota's, they're doing it.
Good.
But this
do
also
it.
kind of goes back to the three of us sitting here. Don't fuck with people from Illinois. I mean, legit.
No,
We will kick your ass.
Well, you know what? There's some parts of Illinois. You go up the bluff, it gets a little weird. It's Planet Granite. Let's just keep it simple.
Yeah. Definitely.
No, it's one of those things like I graduated with a degree in political science and economics. I've always loved this stuff, but I always felt like I was in the weeds, right? Because it was things that was really only interesting to me, getting into kind of the nuance and some of the, the connectivity through things that were happening, whether it's NAFTA or whether it was like 9/11 or whatever it was. I always looked at things through kind of that lens. And I always felt like there was never an audience, right? Whether I was at the pub, whether I was at, going to play a game or whatever, those circles, everybody's like, okay, yeah, whatever. I saw the headline and everybody moved on. But what's happened since 2015, 16
Yeah.
is that all of this has become every day.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether that's good or bad, because I always felt back then like, why do people not talk about politics? Because you complain about your gas prices or you complain about the school prices and all these things. That's politics, right? But nobody wanted, what did you not talk about? Politics and religion at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And now, do you have conversations that are neither?
No, everything's politics.
Yeah.
Everything's politics now. And they're like, we can talk about something other than politics. No, we
But
can't.
it always was. You were talking
Right.
about how expensive your medication was. And you were talking about gas prices.
Well, and I'll give Trump credit for one thing and one thing only: getting people involved in politics. More people today are involved in politics because of the bullshit, because the veil has been lifted. Like, it's obvious corruption. People are like, we can't have this anymore. So almost everybody in America today is involved in politics in some way, shape, or form. And when people say, oh, I don't do politics, fuck you. You're part of the problem.
Yeah.
Like,
then you did
Do you
this.
do you fill your gas tank? Do you go to the grocery store? do you have kids in school? If you have any of those things or do any of those things, do you simply go out to eat a dinner? Right?
Yeah.
Because everything that you touch and affect, or that affects you in that experience and that process and that bill at the end of the night, guess what?
Yeah.
so I,
Do you work in a vulnerable industry?
well, so my thing is, so like the solar stuff, right? I love solar. I've got solar panels. I got an EV car. Like, that's great. And I did all that because I kind of saw what was coming down the pipe. Second part of that is all the benefits for putting in solar were scrapped by Trump.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. And so now it's like, oh, you don't even get that option anymore. And so there was tax incentives. There's all sorts of little stuff to put in solar. Most of that's gone now because of Trump, and he's sticking us with the bill of the oil.
Well, Elon gambled because he knew what was coming down the pipe. Tesla only kind of got to the point that it did domestically, basically on the backs of tree huggers. The far left was the group that supported Elon in 2012 when the cars rolled out, right? He knew after 2024 election that that $7,000 incentive, that $9,000, whatever it was, he assumed it was going to go away, and he placed a bet on SpaceX and the contracts, et cetera. And if you look at what has happened to Tesla since, it's done okay, not great. It's done okay relative to where it was, but he is about to become a trillionaire after this IPO because he knows the federal government. He helped put them in place.
Well, and he had to go.
I mean, think about all that.
He had to go in and change various departments. He had to have access to all these departments to be able to change the shit that would have taken money.
Did you
out
get
of his
your
pocket.
$2,000 Doge check?
Oh, I sure didn't.
No.
Yeah, it's weird.
I got my tariff rebate check and my Doge check at the same time.
Was it delivered by an Amazon drone?
Filled up one tank of gas. No.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we could continue to go. I'm going to cap the rabbit hole. I think we've had enough for today.
I'm out of water anyway. We're good.
I still have club soda.
Melinda Cooper, Matt James. Appreciate you guys doing this. Did you have fun?
Yeah.
It was fun?
I had a blast.
I wanna do it
You
again.
still got club soda in there?
Yeah, yeah.
You know
Well,
why?
Because I kept burping.
No, because club soda's gross.
No, club soda's delicious, but
Is there
the microphone was
there-
really here, and I kept burping. So
is there tequila in that too? Because otherwise, that's waste of club soda.
this is TJ's club soda, and it is my very favorite. So.
All right, everybody. Here's the deal. Thank you for listening. Like, review, follow, share. If you made it this far, please send a message. And here's the keyword, the code word. If you listen this far, if you message, I will Venmo you $10. The code word is Venho. Until next time, Melinda, Matt James, we're out of here. See ya.